Yes. Yes, thank you. And then not everybody is becoming a leader. But let me go. There is a lot of information I want to share with you. So please be patient with my English that is on my mother tongue, and be patient, please, with the amount of information I'm going to give you. Just relax a little bit and enjoy yourselves. Shall we continue?
Yes,
Let
go
us.
ahead. Yes.
Yes, we can.
I was thinking of possible titles. That wouldn't make it for this talk. They would, for instance, how to get teens to do what I want. That wouldn't be a good title for this talk. How can teens listen to me better? All right, listen to me better. Another one, why teens are still, if teens are still children, they have tones to learn. Why on earth should I mind their opinion? Then, well, these are not good titles for the talk. We are going to talk about adolescence and different stages, but mainly we are going to get centered very soon into the virtues. For instance, the first virtue is self-control. That is the one that we are going to learn this method and to be able to put it into practice. Anyone can put it into practice. So as you can see there, adolescence is a stage in human growth. There is a pre-adolescence and 3 stages. It is a great age of change, and like the deep blue sea, we are high waves and tides. There are many waves and tides, so, and our sons have peaks in their mood, sometimes overjoyed, some other times depressed. Their performance silhouettes can be referred to as the teeth of a saw. I would like to share with you the fact that it is important we trust our teens, even if we know that he has lied before, even because we need to start from zero every time in growth of trust and confidence. Every time there is a break in the confidence and the trust. So now, but we need to trust somebody, and he needs to trust you to be able to learn something. And as virtues have to be performed by the will of those who want to gain virtues, you cannot. You can force somebody to do something, but it is not a virtue. It is just a blatant obedience, and that's it. Then nobody, according to Augustine of Hippo, that in the 4th century, there in Hippo, in the north of Africa, said something very interesting. Nobody can teach anything to a person who doesn't want to learn. That is, if we don't get our young, if we don't get them to share the same interest we have, let them have that interest themselves, they will not learn it. They will just look at you and tell you another sermon. Good. So now, of course, children are happy because we want them to be happy. But you see, the swan is in a big pond, in a lake, and you have the moon behind, and you see the majesty of the swan that is moving along the area of the water, like majestic. But you can see underneath that the animal is pawing. Why? Because to be in control of yourself, you require to pass through several filters, and that's painful. Pain is the key to success. What is an adolescent? What is an adolescent? You see, well, body and so on. You already have passed through all the stages in adolescence, and well, some of I'm now entering the old age myself. But each of you is in a place, in a different place in life, in a moment in life. And they have their moments, and you know everything that happens there. So I'm not going to be very interested in giving you ideas of what an adolescent is or what is not. Mainly, he's a boy unsure of himself because everything is new around him. He's frequently he tramples with chairs in the class, or he falls. I mean, easily, because his limbs are too long. They were not as long 10 months ago or 2 months ago. Unable to explain things because he's not sure, and he has new feelings, and he needs to find what they are and what they are for and when they come from. So they are unable to explain. So if you try to exact an explanation for something wrong he has done, then he will not be able to explain it very well. In fact, let me tell you, when one is on top, and on top of the top, is because he has wasted many good opportunities, because you can only get to be a great fellow when you have taken very many wrong decisions, and then you learn from them. So that's I believe that it is an important point there. Vulnerable person seeking affection. Okay, vulnerable person. Why? Because he needs if he doesn't find it at home, that affection, that acceptance, well, then he will find it somewhere else. We are all made for a purpose, you know. So he has to find why he was made, what for. You know, when you receive an electrical appliance like a fridge, for instance, a big one, then you get a box, and then inside the box you get oil, the fridge itself, and the wires and the rest of elements that make it work. But you will not find spare parts. Why? Because no new machine needs spare parts. That would be the wrong idea. And then think of the world like a big machine, the whole world. And then you think that in the world we are there, in that world, and we cannot be spare parts. We have to find what we are set for, and that's part of our lives. In their moments in life, it is an important part of their lives, because well, you will see that a teen boy is slowly growing, learning by himself, needs no previous bad outcomes. It makes them more likely to keep advancing in the peril. Wow, towards peril. Getting exposed to new experiences, often forbidden for a child, like smoking, drugs, sex, alcohol, porn, in the case of the boys, girls, which is wonderful at the right time. And still, because if one learns the right time very soon, then what else? So each thing has its own time, and we have learned it in many ways. Then still, he is the one who must take one decision or the other. and sometimes he doesn't make it right. I mean, he doesn't take the right decision, and well, let them fail, because that is the way they learn. So don't worry. I will have to tell you a story in a few moments' time. But he's a person, as you can see now, a new person who must find who he is and what he's got, and a boy full of questions. And then your part there is, one, to read the right books, two, to get the right advices, three, to speak things between the family, between you and your wife, or your wife and your wife and your husband. You need to be a unity there, because you need to face many questions, and you are normal persons, and you can do things wrong at home, and you can be missing something that is important. Then you need to not to tell the boy that is right because we are your parents, but you need to acknowledge that is wrong, and we are trying to get it right. A boy full of questions needs sincere answers. And if he doesn't find answers in you parents, then they will have to find them somewhere else. Yes, please. Anything? No. Okay, so what is virtue? If you see this, you will find out that action has happened because he has virtue instilled inside, that is helping others. Others that don't give me anything, I give everything to them. All right. But if you see this other one, you will find that is also a vice. That is a vice. That is react badly against the parents. That would be terrible. Terrible. Perhaps we can think of parents in the village, right? So are we okay? What is virtue? But if you see this other thing, you will find that there is a lot behind this man that is helping his mother. A lot behind. The value is love, and the virtue is generosity and love for the parents. What is virtue? Then it is, if you see your parents, it's a positive, it's a habit, right? And positive. If I see you helping others, boys will follow. If they see you doing something very good, they will get to know it, because it is established by repetition of good acts, and the opposite of virtue is vice. Then how can it be learned? Well, from models. So you are to become a model for your children, because they will see virtue in what you do. If we say, what you see is what you get. So if you see generosity, you will find generosity in your children. If you see hard work, you will find hard work. I'm trying to establish the importance of virtue. So what is the objective for parents? That your children are happy. Look at those boys. Are they happy? Their parents are making it, but they are intimately happy, not for a while. They are happy. They are with mates that feel the same as they feel. So we are going to decide objectives at home. You and your husband, or you husband and your wife. You're going to get together and decide objectives, select virtues you want to foster in your children. We're talking about being generous, being sincere, being hardworking, being trustworthy, being family-minded, loving, happy, friendly, sensible, respectful, communicative. Parents teach them with your lives. Parents teach them. You teach them with your lives. The height of the standards is directly proportional to the commitment of parents to being virtuous. The worst thing, but by the way, the worst thing you can do to a youngster, an adolescent, is not to love him. That is the worst thing. So look, it happens that sometimes you have children that you didn't want to have, all right? You understand what I mean? That's, well, you had it, and that's, sorry, that's about it. But once you have it, the child doesn't know anything. He must feel love. And if you have some children in your house, that is, in many houses, you have children that come from the village and from your family members, and, well, the extended family, or even your village, and that's like an extended family also. What happens if parents, also foster parents, must love their young ones, and they must put in effort in their education as well. That is very, very critical, because later on they will either they follow the example of the parents, or they just put the parents away from their minds. And what is your main idea? For most of the time, you must be there, because whenever
we've lost you. Well,
hello.
Juan, you are muted. He's muted.
Okay. We are back. You cannot free yourself so easily from me. All right. So just like that, with the old NEPA, right? Well,
yeah,
then let me try and get. Okay, that's this is what I want. Few general advices. That is a few beacons to
your presentation is off.
Yes, tell me, please.
Your presentation is off. You have to
share I'm coming back to it. I'm coming back. Sorry. Now let me share it. Slide share. Let me put it. But everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Good. Now how to share? Okay. Can I share it? Am I sharing now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Then I must escape and animation transition zone. Okay, and then I know. This is not. I must share from Zoom, which is here. Okay, more. Share screen. Excellent. Share. Oh no, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Sharing the. Okay, don't you worry. We are here now. And then now, can you see anything?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now we continue. All right. So I tell you that we are trying to find a few common beacons, a common ground to be able to speak the same language. First of all, we need to understand how important I think it is a bit. Everything is a bit composed is a bit messy at the beginning, but later on it comes to be less confused and more, or confusing and more straight to the point. Now, for beginners, few general advices for beginners. Those of you who are beginning with having boys in this pre-teen or teen age, or age, or what, all teenage. That, I mean, the teenage doesn't finish. We don't have a finishing. I would tell you 40 years old, and then you know that there are people who are teens all their lives. Do's and don'ts. Importance of sleep. Please find out the importance of sleep. I cannot explain it to you right now. In two sentences. Sleep requires to be deep. For that, there is need for time for sleep. The time we advise, according, well, I have checked in several places, but mostly in the United States, the time for sleep must be from 8.5 hours to 9.5 hours. I can tell you some other things, they are terrible, but it is better not to tell you. One thing is important. You know, during your sleep, your brain puts your ideas in order, so that when you want to retrieve them, you can find them. That is number one. And number two, well, it gets rid of all other emotions that just are noises in your life. So you come clear. Importance of sleep, terrible. People who don't sleep have serious problems now and in future. You know, when you ask God for pardon, he wants to pardon you. If you ask man for pardon, for excuses, the man may pardon you or not, but nature never pardons, never. So it is important to sleep. You have a sick boy at home, teach him to be a good sick, because some boys, according to one of John Paul II, boys to be sick, sorry, is a vocation. Then they need to learn to be a good sick. You cannot put up with everything they say. No. Or they want. No. You need to teach them with a lot of affection how to be good sick. Sorry, before the next thing, 3 tips for a good night's sleep. 1, keep a constant bedtime and wake up time, even on the weekends. Number 1. Number 2, try to get rid of electronics at least 1 hour before the bed time. And thirdly, if you are still having trouble sleeping after having consistent bedtime, not using screens before bed, and not drinking caffeine, you may need to see a sleep specialist to help. It is important. What I say is important. Shall we continue?
Yes.
Don't shame them. Don't shame them. Don't let anyone shame. Extreme parents are dangerous because sometimes they want perfect boys, and you know, the perfect man that we all know is not on earth. Is perhaps in heaven, but perfect. Who is perfect? Either some of them are very protected by parents, or some other ones are overindulgent, and they want to enjoy their pampered boys. This kind of mother, yeah, enjoying her boy until he becomes ugly and big, and then discarded. That's not, I haven't ever seen in Nigeria, but anywhere that's improper. And it happens, not, I don't think in Nigeria, but in many other places. We love all our children evenly. even those who are not direct children, that are foster children. We appreciate their qualities because they have qualities. And we don't compare them with other better boys or, so, well, we don't compare. Each one is unique. There was once a child that loved silk and silkworms. He loved them, and he had a special affection for one of them that was a silk worm. This was a very common thing in Western countries. I don't know whether in Nigeria. In Western countries, it was quite. Everybody had these silkworms, but well, one day the silkworm began doing a cocoon, and he got inside, and then the boy went to ask the mother, "What happens to my worm?" "Yeah, he's changing. He's changing. All right, he's changing into a cocoon." And well, thought that the big moth, no, it wasn't a butterfly, it was a moth, couldn't get out of the hole. There was a hole, he wouldn't get out of the hole. So he was very sad, and he started trying to make a hole in the cocoon, and he did. And he brought out the poor animal. It was a deformed animal, you see, because that torso, that tummy, and it should be slim and should be he should have passed through that hole, you know. But as he didn't pass through the hole, he was condemned to be badly formed its whole life. All right. So I tell you that sometimes you need to let them suffer a bit. They must. If they don't pass through that hole, then they will not be in future leaders. So of course the child whipped. Okay, so yeah, my son is up in the clouds. Well, see adolescence as an opportunity. Things show quite a change, like in an academic year repetition. It can be a disaster on an opportunity coming from heaven. Then this is a lot of changes, and adolescent sons are a box of surprises. Anything can come out of them. Every good thing, every bad thing, everything can come out of them. And we need to trust them. We have to. We cannot force them. We can. This period is a new opportunity to help them extract all the good from their hidden resources. So the art of helping a boy to think. These mothers take notes, because you're all great psychologists. And then the art of helping your boy to think. You know, girls think by talking, no, they think also in very many ways, but boys only by talking. So you need to help your child to think by talking to him. You know, if there are situations in which he has to think before he acts. So teen boys think by talking. Etymology of adolescence. Adolescence is from Latin adolescere, lacking in something, compatible with ongoing or in construction. So that is adolescence. If you are the one talking all the time, all you are doing is listening to your child, then it means in their minds, it means that you are going on with sermons. And it is a show of weakness of the mouth when you tell them that my heart is full of pain, you're killing me, and this and that. They are not ideas that a boy can chew. What is the art of making them talk? It is completely different from manipulation. Yes, please. It's a twist. It is a twist of reality, and a twist of reality to serve your purpose. That is manipulation. No. It is not manipulate. It's prepare the conversation by thinking of the right questions that inevitably arrive to the right conclusions, and let your son get through your right questions to the right solutions. That is a guided chat, but that is the way boys think. So then you're going to have a lot of to be very sensible as you are. Boys generally are happy and affectionate, and if the arguments you give the child are logical, the conversation needs the right questions to finally arrive to the right answer. How to help adolescents install virtue? Okay, you see adolescents of today, you see them adolescents that are all in a museum and giving their best parts, their backs to an incredible picture, and they are with their mobile phones. You see, these are our people, these are our children. So how to help them install virtue? We are all in a situation, so no problem with the situation. You are the mother of a child, and that is what you are supposed to do, child, and this is what you are supposed to do. So how can I do it? First of all, I'm going to tell you what I told you at the beginning. By the way of example, by psychological induction, so for the boy to self-discover himself. What is a psychological injunction? Because that is what I was telling you about thinking of the right question, so that the boy discovers the answer easily. Because you are not giving the answer, but the answer is there, and that is the way to make them think. All right, and because if they think and they buy the idea of being virtuous, for instance, being generous, or never more to tell a lie, never more, then if they buy it, they will have it for life, for the whole life. It will be a beacon in their lives. They must be convinced what virtue is, and that they want that virtue. Okay, they can do it. They can obtain that virtue. You know, Alexander the Great, that is one of my history idols. Alexander the Great saw an ant going up the tent and falling down. His tent, it went out and fell. It went out and fell, and finally it got to the top of the tent. So that is the way we can tell the boys that don't worry, if you are persistent, you have the key. Right frame, what is? Well, let us begin having a right frame at home. Well, negotiate what we can do at home. All right. What are the main things? Well, sit down and negotiate. What is basic for the home to work as a common place? Later on, rules as a family. And after that, what makes all the job cannot fall on the mother. It has to be shared. But it is not like I give you a hand. No. Can I help you? No. You have to do things. I mean, this is your home. So in order to make that of your house a home for everybody, inclusive home, you need to negotiate the home rules and perhaps put them into writing, and everybody signs them. You have big exceptions, all right? Well, a monoparental family, living with it is not the same of having a child extended family, or with in a monoparental family, or in a foster home, someone with special educational needs, a disabled child. All these are exceptions, and they have to be treated as they are. Each person not fitting in the standard range of expectations and reaction expected from a teenager needs exception, needs special treatment. How to work each virtue? So as I told you, we are going to get one virtue, and then we are going to work on it. We have a positive approach. If you are hot, forget, you don't get on your hands on your work until you are peaceful. Nobody can teach anything to a person who doesn't want to learn, as we heard before. So now, first of all, the first work session is with the parents, only parents. And you need to detect the pitfalls of your children, of your boys, detect the causes, the right questions to ask, how things must change to make virtue possible. Help him want virtue without forcing him. How can we manage to do that? Because it has to be both of you. If you don't talk, please get to talk. Get to talk. It is very important, and nobody's right and nobody's wrong. You know, we need to talk about this, because if a parent does one thing and the other parent does the opposite, what is this? There is no way of helping any child. If the mom says, dad says, okay, take your turn to take the rubbish to the outside, and then your child said, well, I took it yesterday, it is my and then the child won't say anything, but the mother said, he took it yesterday, perhaps it can be the other brother. Okay, the father can be humble and say, okay, you're right, or can say, well, I told him to go and do it. Do you know what? In the meantime, the child drops the rubbish. You know why? Because you are fighting, because you are not united. So this happens always, eh? If you think wrong of a child, you obtain wrong. But if you are positive, you will then get right. It is not a good idea to start with a defiant approach. Define. What is the meaning of lack of virtue? Well, that is the message we are giving. What is the message we are giving with lack of virtue? What is that? Well, now we are going to take that hard working and we will put everything into practice. Make a strategy to get him thinking just the right questions, really ready for some answers that will surprise you. Detect what needs to change, not only in your child, but in your family, in the father, in the mother, what needs to change to enable virtue to grow. We start from the beginning. Now we will see a set of an example of the previous family strategy. That is the method. We are talking about the method, and now an example of the method. Facing teens rage, for instance. It happens in every home. When someone slams the door, it's not stronger. He's quite weaker. Now, how to face teens rage? Well, first of all, we need to understand the process. And the process is of a boy with rage is a Ferrari with bicycle wheels, uncontrollable. So first of all, how do we face teens' rage? Well, letting it go. We don't face it. Let it go. He will explode. Okay. Next time you will have to start doing something for him to not to explode. Parents meet and try to find out. We have already agreed that you avoid contact with the angry over the head boy. You avoid contact. He goes to his room and that's it. He will come back and perhaps he will not even ask he will not excuse himself because he doesn't know. They act the best way they can. And then let us facilitate them the way they get out of their rage. All right. So underneath the irrational mood changes of adolescence, there are often feelings of deep confusion, fear of failure, embarrassment, shame, and worst of all, an intense vulnerability, intense. So that is what is behind an exaggeration of an outburst of cholera. All this. So how can it then what we are saying, that we are now going to help the teen to install the self-control. Now, how to teach him to self-control the temper? First of all, he needs to want to control himself. This is very easy because they go so much over the head that, well, it is very simple to get the boy back and say, well, do you want to learn to control yourself? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Because if one gets control, can you see this is a cataract, falls, but you see a man walking. You see a man walking there. He has a lot of control of himself. No matter the noise, no matter the outside, he's in control. So can we install self-control? Parents meeting again, analyze what is behind. Losing the temper makes takes away, makes you fail. The one who loses the temper is not stronger, it's weaker. This is a game. If you lose the temper, you lose. All right. That of course, remember that first of all we have to be the ones that we don't fall in losing the temper. Sometimes it's difficult. After 9 hours of car, you come home and you are out. The problem of a number of things, they cannot hold their horses. And then let us analyze why the boy loses the temper. A boy sees a discrepancy about an opinion and his own opinion, some view, all right? Then they may burst at that moment and becomes angry. Okay, there is a time between the points he has noticed that there is a discrepancy from the point he acts. It is like 10 seconds. This is the time the boy gets angry. So, but it will get angry and he will get angry and he will act sooner than you say Jack Robinson. This is the moment, these 10 seconds are the moments for self-control. So why there is a show? Because he wants that the whole family, in fact, the whole world knows that he is not in agreement with that. And that's why he acts so over the head, so much over the head. Often they try to express them in the most bitter form available, right? We have seen it. Why does he take the worst words, the worst attitude? Well, it is because he sees a discrepancy and he reacts because he doesn't know better. He doesn't know better. So we are going to teach him to know better. And then don't worry, it will not take long. This breaks the family atmosphere. The family must accommodate to, okay, the family atmosphere has broken. So you change the topic as parents, and then you accommodate to new circumstances, get out the tension immediately. Another point is that you excuse the child. Our boy doesn't know better. Dad finds a way to chat peacefully with the boy, or mom, but dad should chat with the boy peacefully, not abrupt, but peaceful. Tell your boy that if he's becoming angry, well, he doesn't need to carry it to the extreme. He can say, well, I don't like this. And it is the same effect because everybody minds what he says. Then what can you do when you are angry? Because if you teach him what to do, then he will do it because he doesn't have more knowledge. Then just stand from the table, for instance, or from your seat without noises or shows, and say, sorry, I'm not feeling well. Instead of shouting, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to my bedroom now. Don't worry, it will not take a long time. If you teach him to say these things, you are giving him a door to be able not to show off. And then you are helping him to install self-control. It is like a process because he is the one who wants to install self-control. Now you teach him, all right? Our boy doesn't know how to react better. The other mom, help him. Once in their room, they can cry, react, overreact without hurting themselves, because sometimes they tend to box the wall, and that's not good for the hands or for the walls. Later, when he has cooled down, well, he will be back quietly, and nobody will notice him. This is the kind of trick. Nobody will notice him, and he's back. If he says something like, sorry, okay, don't worry, child. Don't worry, Jimmy. We love you. That's it. Later, there will be a peaceful chat, peaceful. And then all in good harmony. And then parents will tell him their own view. He thinks that his view is the only one and most important one in the world. But now they will share him their own view and the reasons behind. He doesn't have reasons, but he thinks it's right. Let him explain his view, sometimes inarticulate. Mom and dad will reply, leaving him an escape door. Okay, don't worry if you cannot explain, don't worry. But if he wants to have the last word, okay, let him have it. But he will be thinking about it because he minds a lot what you say, a lot. Self-control, and then we are going to pass through very fast to different things. Self-control in the use of technologies. Well, set clear rules and guidelines. Model good behavior. So rules and guidelines, establish clear boundaries and rules on when and how technology can be used. Make your teen understand the consequences of breaking these rules. Model yourself good behavior. Model, you are the model. So they will find from you. If you're not a good model, sorry, become better because they will not learn otherwise. Encourage offline activities, like, for instance, football, like, for instance, help me run in errands, and some other things they may like. Have open and honest conversations with him. Why? Because sometimes he needs to. This morning, I was with some of these adolescents, and a child told me, okay, I want my parents to have conversations with me. My father, I need my father more, but he's so busy. He only takes care of my senior ones. Well, this is the third of 5. Okay, have many open and honest conversation. Fathers, you are important there because you are the role model. If they don't see you, if they don't know why you think what you think, because you have your reasons, you're not stupid, then they need to know. You need to sit down and talk with your child. The best conversation is the one that you are sitting next to your child in a car. That's the best one, because everything comes out. And then when he tells you things that you're not in accordance with, in agreement, you let him go. He knows that you don't like it. But if you slap him every time he tells you something you don't like, well, how can he be trusting you? Use of technology together, you and dad, you and mom, and monitor their usage. You know, every mobile phone has the amount of screen time there is for that boy, and average of hours per day. So you can check that along with the child, and you will see that they are, well, I have found in my class, in one of my many classes, but in one of my classes, I have found people that had 14 hours per day as an average. So what is that? What kind of life is that? Let us go to truthfulness. I will go very fast. You see, this is a story of a refugee from Iran, and the child looked at him because he cannot provide more food than that. The father is very sad, but look at the sincerity is not in the father, it's in the child. Look at the child. He's totally sincere, it's truthful, because he's feeling along his father. All right. A sincere person is that kind of person you can depend on, encouraging truthfulness. Okay, we tell lies. Everybody avoid being scolded for wrongdoing, or also hide the truth. It must be intentional, because if one lies without knowing it, it's not a lie. Lie is to say the opposite of what you think with the intention of deceiving. So, if you tell a boy, okay, tell me what do you think about what you have just done? He will tell you everything you have in mind, even more things. And moreover, if you tell a boy, okay, ask him if he's comfortable, but in what he did, but the truth, invite him to think of the correction to learn from that mistake, and you will be surprised at his severity. You will have to moderate him. So that is the way of modeling truthfulness. Responsibility. Okay, sometimes brothers and sisters are very irresponsible. Very. And we are finishing. Start with small tasks, set clear expectations, encourage. All this, I can pass it on to you in, or there could be talks to talk about each one of the virtues, but there are so many. Generosity, okay, one for so many, one plate for so many. Well, model generosity yourself, encourage volunteer work, teach them to share, teach them to give back, and visit the poor or the sick or the lonely. Because in Lagos, you find many lonely people. In our cities, we find many lonely people. And in Atenu, sorry, many lonely people. People who don't find their way to the village, and then they are in the city. In the village, they are also lonely. And encourage gratitude. Okay. And my second, this is a surprise advice. Surprise. Every adolescent deserves a mentor. A mentor listens to them, understands them, okay, validate their feelings. Then that is a person that builds a relationship that is supportive and a third leg in a chair with 3 legs. That is required in adolescence. That is required. You know, Alexander the Great had a mentor. You know who was the mentor of Alexander the Great? Aristotle was the mentor, and he taught him many things because he was the son of the king and he was the best mentor. So it is easy for you to get a mentor, somebody of your trust that can help accompany him and tell him the things he won't tell you. I mean, your parents will the things he sees in them. Of course, mentor must be working along with the parents. He's not somebody from the stratosphere. Is somebody that parents choose as a mentor. Okay. It must be a positive model. It must provide guidance and support, encourage virtues and development, boundaries. Okay, the mentor has boundaries and privacy. Okay, so well, where they meet, and the boy has the right of his own privacy. That is important also. So with this, I will stop sharing, and I am thankful for your patience, because it has been like very long for you. Now I'm ready for I'm ready for receiving your questions. All right, and I'm trying to help you in answering them.
Sandra, over to you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Juan. I mean, I did find some, like when you said help him to be good sick, I think be a good sick person. And that was interesting because I never thought about that. I mean, you think you just sort of allow them use that as an excuse to be weak, but it's good that we think about that now. So thank you very much for this particular session. I don't know if anybody has a question. You can just raise your hands. Anybody has a question?
I would be very glad to answer.
Yeah, I can. Okay, so my own particular question is, even though you said it's not a good topic for this seminar, you said, how do I get them to listen to me? But the thing is, when you said it's not a good topic, but the thing is, how do you get these kids to really listen? I know you did say about asking questions that get them. Well, how do you formulate these questions? What are the practical ways you formulate these questions to help them then get to listen to you?
Yes. First of all, you need objectives. So clear objectives. First, okay, with what virtue we are going to tackle, or what special defect we are going to tackle. And after that, you discuss, husband and wife discuss, and reach to a point. All right, reach to the point of, well, we want to instill this, help him get this particular virtue. Now we know the end. Now how can we get from where he is to the end? That's the right approach. And then, okay, how can he? Well, requires to understand this kind of thing, this other kind of thing, this other kind of. You write them, and after you write everything, you will realize that you have already a plan with the right questions, and perhaps one can work one virtue, and the other partner can the other question, the other virtue, and that would be something that both of you will enjoy, because you will see, okay, this is not a matter of one day. This is a matter of a period of time, like roses flourish after a long period. So the same flourishes, but it flourishes. And well, I'm now in my life at the time that 10 years is nothing.
Okay, thank you. I get that. All right, so physics extension. You had a question. If you can unmute yourself.
Very well.
Can you hear me? Physics extension. That's the name you logged in as.
Okay, you should be able to
well,
ask. Yeah,
I
please.
can ask a question, please. Since physics extension is not there, can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead,
Please.
please.
You do?
Okay, so you made a point that one should not compare. You should not compare the children with his mates or with his siblings.
Yes.
I would say that it's one of those things that is really easier said than done, because the fault of a child standing before you, whether it is in class or at home, is clear. And his friends or his siblings, who are practically of the same age, you know, growing up in the same environment, seem to be making more effort and doing well. And this child is hiding underneath his laziness with all sorts of excuses. And then you don't compare. If you don't compare, because I see comparing as a way of pointing them to the right thing. You know, you know the right thing in theory, but look at your brother, he's living it out. So my question is two-pronged. One is, what is really the risk of making that comparison? And then secondly, if you don't compare, then are you not robbing the child of the opportunity to at least think a bit, assess himself in comparison with what somebody who is close to him in the same shoes practically as himself is able to do?
That's a wonderful question, Sebastian. Thank you. And now, you see, I have been talking generally, but later on, you have your own children with their own particular characteristics. And then, well, you need to now go hands-on the very child you want to help. If your child is an amorphous in character, that is well, he's not particularly he's secondary, and he's not very active, and he's not affectionate at all. Well, you have a character that is very difficult to move. In fact, he will only move when about the things he likes, and he will not move in any other direction. So you can try with comparisons. You can try, okay, you can try to move him in any way you can, but you will not, because he is made in a way, and unless he wants to, you know. Then there are some boys who have character that is, well, a character that is very difficult, like the ones I have told you. The rest of the characters are easy to handle, and that one perhaps is a little bit more of for a professional, I said. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Okay, somebody else raised her hand, Angela De Silva. So please, if you can unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much for this session. I mean, raising boys now has become a major issue for a lot of us. But my comments are as regards the last question, and it's quite instructive. I think a few days ago, I watched a movie, Kung Fu Panda. And when I watched that movie, something struck me. So you had a big, very big, fat, the very first movie on Kung Fu Panda, big, fat, round panda who was supposed to be the Dragon Lord, who was supposed to help fight fight evil. And all he had was a passion for Kung Fu, but he had no skill, nothing whatsoever. And his sensei, the man that was supposed to teach him, was so frustrated and was like, I've trained 4 others or 5 others that can do this job. But the Hugui, who is the grandfather Kung Fu Lord, had said, this is the Dragon Lord. Okay. He looks at he sees this Kung Fu Panda just going around the kitchen looking for, he loved food, the puddings, I think. Yeah, I think that's what it is. He loved the puddings. And he will go anywhere to get the puddings. The next thing, he saw him right up at the top of the kitchen in a particular pose that, I mean, you had to be flexible enough to do that pose. And he was like, wow, I know what he likes. He likes puddings. I have to use what he likes to teach him. And you won't believe that was what he used. He used the puddings. He won't get a pudding until he had mastered the step. He made sure he learned. And at the end of the day, he became the Dragon Lord, did what he was supposed to do. But he was like, I'm not hungry. I don't need the pudding anymore. And he became what it just told me after that movie was, we really need to dig deep, take time to understand that person, to see what motivates them, and use that thing to get them to do what they need to, whatever we want them to do, or for them to actually motivate themselves. That story was, I mean, it was amazing. That would be my second or third time of watching that movie, but that day was, this is it. This is really the key. Thank you.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you for your comments.
Is
Excellent.
somebody else? Yeah, that makes sense to actually know. And then I also like what you mentioned about it being a process. It's not a one day, because sometimes we think, if you wanted to teach him generosity, for instance, that you come one day and drum generosity into his ears, and all of a sudden he becomes generous. It's a process, and then you dig deep to find that. All right, so Wadike Cynthia, let's hear you, please. Wadike Cynthia, you can unmute yourself. Okay. You can unmute yourself.
She has been waiting for so long that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tonyo said, Wadike Cynthia. Well, in the absence of that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fernandez. Thank you, Angela da Silva. Thank you to all the parents that have actually made one or two contributions. I do sincerely appreciate you. I think I find myself in the position of frustration. Okay, I have actually trained 4, and the last one has become so difficult. You can't, when Fernandez said something about nobody can teach anything to a person who doesn't want to learn. I found myself in that situation. So you try to encourage, you try to persuade, you try to cajole, you try all sorts, and it's not working. So I'm beginning to wonder, because all the solutions you have given to us here now, I have actually done some of them, and even much more than that. And he seems not, he just wants to play. He wants to, no sign of, putting in efforts. He doesn't want to read. He uses residual knowledge, to do his work. And I do compare. Well, you just told us we shouldn't. I do actually. So I'm just asking, what else can a parent do after you have exhausted all these possible solutions and it isn't working? What else can you do?
Very well, Sonia. I have understood your position very well and your frustration. What else? Okay. In this, in your case, time is your friend, because he is not going to be always like he will be some years, and you will suffer a lot as you are doing, but he will react. Let me give you an example. I took at the time my brother died, I took his son, and I wanted to train him, and then I did in many ways, but he loved being playing all night to computer games, or well, to a particular game, and he stopped going to school. He stopped everything. He would live in his bedroom, and my mother would put some food on the ground. Whenever he wanted, he would take it. And it was 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Well, after that, he became serious. He went to Holland, in my case, to work, and he has been working there for 4 years, and he has come back to finish his studies, and because he wants to work, and he has places to work, and he has seen the world. So I think many times we don't know what to do because we don't do anything. Simply to wait for time, because time will come, and then you have to be there. You are now there. This is all what you can do. And the time will come, and you will be there also. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so
Hello?
Madike.
all right, go ahead.
Madike.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for this lecture. And my question is, one, at what age is it appropriate for an adolescent to have a cell phone? Because you made mention of the do's and don'ts. You said remove all electronics 1 hour before bedtime. Then at what age is it appropriate for an adolescent to have a cell phone? Then if in a situation whereby you've monitored your son and you've noticed that most times he pretends to have removed the phone, and when everybody has gone to bed, he takes up the phone again. Do you lose out? Because here you said losing your temper takes away your being right. Do you lose your temper and ground him from using the phone for a while? Is it appropriate? Or how do you explain to him that
All right. This is a
good?
very proper question, and let me try to give you some ideas. You see, mobile phone is not for playing, but it has become for playing because people play with it. Then what I would suggest to you is to make a contract. Okay, to set the things clear at home. First of all, well, things are very clear, but perhaps if this boy is not doing them, let us do it in a different way. That is, we are going to set time for, the fact is, I wouldn't give a mobile phone for a child in his, for his, as a gift in his first Holy Communion. No, I wouldn't do that. But it is a nonsense. But I would, if everybody else has a phone, I would give it to him. Why? Because otherwise he will get it from someone else, and you will have to play the role of that mom that doesn't know anything, and you are not for that. All right. So this morning, one of the boys told me, Juanfro, I said, what? You see, I have a phone. Is that so? But we are always talking through the phone of your mom. Yes, but she doesn't know. Okay. Why do we have? Well, they know that I have it. Sorry, but they have cut so many things. Okay, I can use it only half an hour a day. I cannot call. I cannot check the internet. So many things of parents that are very organized and very clear in their mind that, well, telephone is an instrument and not a play gift. So now what to do in that case? Okay, that boy is 16, and he has two siblings before him, and these two siblings, well, have messed up in their lives with their phones and so on. So he's paying for those ones. And well, I see him and I say, well, the day you can show me that you have some maturity to handle yourself, then I will give you more. But let us have clear ideas. Mobile is not in the Constitution. To have a mobile phone is not within the Constitution, number one. Number two, that your boy's phone is yours, not his, because you paid it and you pay every month. That is your phone. So you do with your phone what you want. And then, but he will find another one, then negotiate the ways he is going to use it. But that is yours, and you should have the password, even though they require to have an intimacy. Yes, but if he finds a girlfriend, don't worry, you will be the first one to find out. So intimacy, well, no, I don't know whether I have helped you in any way.
Okay, she's like, I think so. I mean, I think so. You've answered it. The phone is not the child's own, it's yours. I mean, and so you were to set a rule that you
Yes,
want
sir,
the
you
device.
do. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, Wadike, thank you. So Chichiokolo, go ahead. Unmute yourself and let's say. Chichiokolo. So only Chichiokolo, come up with your questions, after which we would have to have it.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Is Onyinye. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, my question is about sibling fighting. You know, sometimes it can be very frustrating. They fight over toys, they fight over unnecessary things, and sometimes we get frustrated on how to really make them to stop fighting, or how to be, not to be partial. Most times we tend to tilt towards the younger ones. We tend to, ask the elderly, the bigger boys to bear with their younger ones, and they feel we are probably being partial or something. So personally, sometimes I get frustrated and I don't know how to handle their fight.
Yeah, I understand your frustration also. What I would tell you is that boys are boys, and they fight. Then no matter, okay, if I'm in a school where there are boys and girls and teachers who have no siblings, all right, girl teachers, and then they are scandalized to see two boys fighting. But it's a normal thing with boys. They fight, and then they fight for everything. But if they get to let you think that they are hating one another, that is a different thing altogether. Lions fight, and the childhood of a lion is fighting and teasing the other siblings. So the same with the kids. Now, you see, it is very, let me give you the other point of view. I'm the elder brother of 6. And well, my parents used to tell me everything I should do. And then I used to do everything they told me. Then now they told me that I should teach it with my example to all my siblings. So I did. And then when my parents failed to be there because they had to go somewhere else, then I tried to enforce the family agreements. And then they didn't want to do it. So I forced them to do it. Then they whistled into the ears of my father and my mother that I had beaten them to no. And then, well, imagine the boy who wants to do things well, but he cannot because the other one doesn't want to. The first one is a difficult, is always in a difficult position. The second one is a fellow that is completely different from the first one. And the third one, that's whatever he wants, whatever. Because you have 2 eyes, not 3. And then he can do anything. So it happens in most homes, but as we know, there is no family that's the same, and not son that is the same. So if you're frustrated with this, then you're required to chat with each of your boys separately, as if there were not other people in the world. And then, well, let us see what happens in his heart. Why he resorts to effort and to strength and to, well, be violent. And then from there, you can start building virtue. I don't know whether.
All right. So, yeah. Oni, I believe your
Thank you.
question. Okay.
Yes, yes, very well. Thank you.
Okay, so that would be it for the night. Thank you very much, Mr. Fernandez. Like, this has been fantastic. I personally have learned a lot. For those who would have other questions, you can take it to the Facebook. It's in the chat, the Facebook group and the YouTube group, because this will be posted there. The recording will be posted there. You can take your questions there. And that's been a fantastic time spent with you all, and fantastic learning for how to, help us raise these kids even better. So, Mr. Fernandez, thank you for sharing with us today. And compliments of the season, everyone. Next month's Parents First training would be communicated to you, and then we would be happy to have you guys back. Thank you. Yes, the groups are already posted in the chat. Can someone else post it? Someone is asking. The groups are posted in the chats. Yeah, the links are up there. All right, thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And happy 2024.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.
Merry
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Prosperous New Year.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
2024.